Oshe President Akufo-Addo ene ne nhyehyɛ ne ne vision na ade a ebeboa ema ogine mu kura san ka say wohwɛ the issue of the year of return. Vice President Kamala Harris eka say one of the biggest thing na President Akufo-Addo the vision can see ogidi say aboa not just Africa but the world as a whole, because ene obi biara oye African or Oman bia so we are seeing him say so woni fie kura Ghana de eye fie edema every black, and then to say as long as you remain black, Africa, and to be precise, Ghana is your home. Now ojidi say aboa ama ene wona na woni mu nti na aba no after the return, but realizing the rate at which people come to Ghana, the blacks come to Ghana, and it looks like everybody is comfortable saying, or pefie akwadia na ebeye Ghana. Inti no honom no obo President Akufo-Addo abaso ewo honom na yesan ko so abisa no ensem bebre ewo press conference na say meko bisa about green shipping. Said ye Ghana, ye any Africa ina ye kase say no yen hwe say numedia ye dia say wiemu nsachra ye nsem no ye better so said ye be ya entimi emma or how bebre emba wiase nyina no ena me bisa ne say eba ne sa so anache say enya di Africa ye betimi ye pum ye tumpon to said ye pe because yen ni so ade hu ni say nka say yen natural resources ni yen so ye be add value ni yetimi akoye nim anka factories ni industries yi efi answer yes ye ba be bi na yetumi ayeye niema kesi a wo mo ayeye na say ya mo kan ye kasabo ahye ye yemi edie na odwene wo ho e na efe nso no amman akesi nyina akohia ye eka say efan say omunimu say eye kasabo mo ka hye Africa ye mo nti no anka afibia amman bia the 100 billion eba eye sikabotne a amaya kese ye friend great nations ni beyi no mo de ama yen ye wo Africa no na yen so yetimi de aye mpuntu dwuma but ye hwemu a se sika no emma said de omukọ shebo ewo omu meeting afie no ena oche mu se ono de ogidi se ade e ehu behia se said the omujitu mu so mo be ye na se so mo ye ne sa na mum US de oyi US ti ho ka se US de se o ka se ya na o ne me ka se ni answer de ma me se currently no omo yi $11 billion omo hwe se omo parliament na se omo beji atum senate ne beji atum no omujitu mu a omo betimi e release se ska no yesa ko so ama obi bisa US press ni bisa say Ghana position ewo LGBT kill no et saying na President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo the kind no Vice President Kamala Harris actually must say a human rights issue and until no the or very straight and short to honum say that is a human rights issue and or feel say once the law takes its position on it, that is how it must remain. However, President Akufo-Addo stated Ghana's position to this call say we have a bill before Parliament. And untino kopim se beba abontain the Parliament beji atumo no President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo di ujidi say Ghana position has always been straightforward that until whatever it is Parliament they decide we are not in for this. Now, Abranche no bisa sa question. SM pushi biem. President Akufo-Addo catcher say, your position on LGBTQ remains the same until Parliament passes that bill before it. Assembly almost that same person asked again about whether say Ghana yewo Akaida. I don't know how come that question came. Now, President Akufo-Addo so emanity as he say, Ghana has not experienced anything like that. However, there are cells in Ghana, and we know but the security agencies and our defense team is on top of matters. And security, any peace Ghana one will continue to have that. I'm also put it to the guy say, and this is no President Akufo-Addo GD say, Obi Bia and we Ghana down for open Ghana assembly. You would never wish this for the country. Press conference nature no, and you breaking here, my President Akufo-Addo, ekoje na home kakra na Kamala Harris and so eko ni hotel. The numero no said ye no in every state visit no. President Akufo-Addo or call other country omo yema no hanso so obi ba wo fie kra of amofa wa woni say ujiji neni enti enumre no omo ye state banquet kese e de share Kamala Harris enuonyam na ehonom no ensem bi so piepie honom eye statement a ba out ehona President Akufo-Addo now say United States of America invited Ghana to be part of as founders for a year cooperation or the friend of the Atlantic Corporation. A idea almost babe say we are seeing now in so some it's within the maritime and shipping domain. Atlantic Basic Corporation. Now, Omo invited Ghana. Say Ghana mbambeka U.S. Na yenye part of the founders. Na yentimi enkam endi dumanshe say issues with maritime security. No, yebetimi kwadaru muye. San say yeshe Africa, Gulf of Guinea issues. They call robbery at sea, piracy, and all that issues. Necessarily, yetimi solve it because Meninayen said the sea remains one of the biggest transit points that links the world together. And say you did not say you didn't catch the offense, so I never say a boho by say, yeah, you been namun so no one namun so Sudenia Bambo. And then a President Akufo-Addo and so responded what say Ghana has accepted that invitation and na ya dear to see a better part of it. And Osama no born and hoba, yes, or pledge yes say Ghana will support the fighter. U.S. are buying air fighting to ensure there is some level of sanity on our seas, maritime security is improved, and also fight terrorism in the continent. Ghana's position on it, no, President Akufo-Addo, Musa, and also Mame and I said Vice President Kamala Harris, and so. Budget so I can say idea the near just say Ghana any US relationship no is geared towards trade and investment. Na US companies akese bebre abaha no na or hwe ni muso say akese dodo na beba ha no ne maye nkoye chiri no ebeye improvement in the trade relations with the United States. And also san so ebo President Akufo-Addo abaso ewo the introduction of the year of return. Eshe se eka se ojidi se si akobidi abrasi ni de ekeka koi ebesan ama ne homre so biem ama obiara etumi enya ehuninchi nti na wofamufa enna de ekoso wo hono na minkentwa to say Vice President Kamala Harris. Lincoln Chat was said Vice President Kamala Harris. President Akufo-Addo, a friend, say, I can't say a woman Bernardino, Nidin the Abna Kamala Harris. Inti na say no, or no Sujitu Muse, say Wabagana, Nidi, free Nelco, Nidin the Abna Kamala Harris. Vice President of the United States. In Jamufana, dear course, no. And then Yanko Poya Duma Ediano. And then Yamea Dumoa said Yameka say, Minam quite so Ameko Independence Square. Or Babesia, a through the Bray, a year Independence Square, Honomo. Na, Ofi Honomoa, or Betria, Ofi Honomoa, or Betria so. Ofi hono mo a obetia so
107.1 so ni a reporter na nesi na yeti nenkano na enkomo ekoso no bi efri eye America mampania bedi akire ho no yenti kakra.
So thank you for the warm welcome. President Biden and I have made clear that the United States is strengthening our partnerships across the continent of Africa. And we are guided not by what we can do for Africa, but what we can do with Africa and our African partners on this continent. African nations such as Ghana play a critical role in a number of global issues, whether it be the issue of food security, the climate crisis, or resilient supply chains. African voices, including that of Ghana, are critical to global peace and security, including the defense of the United Nations Charter. Mr. President, under your leadership, Ghana has been a beacon of democracy and a contributor to global peace and security. Your leadership in particular and personal engagement has strengthened the ties between the diaspora and the continent of Africa. And President Joe Biden and I are grateful to have you as a partner. Hundreds of thousands of Black Americans came here 4 years ago to participate in the Year of the Return, and more return every year. They have come here as a reminder of the history of slavery. They have come to honor their lineage and to understand their ancestry. We appreciate your leadership in response to recent democratic backsliding in West Africa and standing up for democratic principles around the world. We also recognize Ghana's significant contributions in the Sahel, and I thank you for your leadership there. To help address the threats of violent extremism and instability, today I am pleased to announce $100 million in support of Benin, Ghana, Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, and Togo.
Kamala Harris and U.S. Mampeni abediachiri wabesra Ghana and yetis wakasana Mampeni akufu adon so de say etuja.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the media. I've just concluded a brief but very successful meeting with the Vice President of the United States of America, the Honorable Kamala Harris, and with members of our respective delegation. And I'm here to tell you of its outcome. I want to welcome once again Vice President Harris and members of her delegation to Ghana. As we say in Ghana, Akwaba. You're amongst the people who pride themselves on their sense of hospitality, and I hope that by the end of your visit, you'll agree with this claim. Ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of this visit by the American Vice President is to reaffirm the ties of cooperation and the bonds of friendship that our two countries attach to our relations with each other. Vice President Harris and I had the opportunity of meeting in the White House in 2021 and subsequently, where we both pledged our commitment to exploring further areas of interest for the mutual benefit of our two countries. This visit reinforces our commitment to engage each other further to this end. Our two countries share similar aspirations and values. We're both committed to democratic governance with its respect for human rights, the rule of law, and the principles of democratic accountability. We're member states of the United Nations with a mutual attachment to its values and principles. We have collaborated effectively on several matters over the years, and a major outcome of this afternoon's meeting was the reaffirmation of our commitment to collaborate further and provide mutual support at both multilateral and bilateral levels. The Vice President and I discussed at length how to boost further our political and economic relations, cultural and people-to-people exchanges, as well as our cooperation at the multilateral level. Our deliberations also centered on driving investment opportunities, domestic and foreign, into our two countries and the need for enhanced cooperation and partnership in our development efforts. Towards the realization of the 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, We touched on the need to promote a better world and address global issues relating to the 17 goals. I also used the occasion of my talks with the Vice President to express appreciation of the Ghanaian people and their government, and the government and people of the United States for the support we have received since the establishment of diplomatic relations between our two countries. I've made it known to the Vice President that Ghana is endowed with abundant natural resources, which my government is seeking to use as the basis to transform its economy from its current reliance on the export of raw materials into a value-adding one, with a vision of taking Ghana out of dependence on aid to a self-reliant economy beyond aid, and that is a Ghana beyond aid. I'm pleased to state that Vice President Harris pledged America's support for this transformative agenda. It is this transformation that will give us the best opportunity to derive maximum benefit from our abundant natural resources, enable us create a firmer foundation for meaningful long-term economic and commercial relations with the United States of America. In conclusion, I'm happy to state that this afternoon's meeting has further boosted the steadfast cooperation between us, and Ghana will continue to collaborate with the United States of America at all levels, particularly towards the peaceful resolution of conflicts and in the search for global peace and security to promote sustainable development around the world.
His Excellency the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo na ono nso yete so de ne nsema hodo e de atudwa no kege boko
ya boko
okay
on say penino oye penia ye wo brano wonim de ebehia say o de be adwuma mampanini de wo be yo na your levels of interactions as I'm American, your levels of interactions Spaniard free say one Omanfm at various levels at the grassroots level, one for one business community, one the youth, one school for one people in different sectors. California de ebesia e hon komotwetwe wo ho enna esan se oman bia nye in isolation no nti no eba woni aman ahoro ntam kitahodie nye nkitahodie keke ba se mu begina brane na we di na dwen ba ne we yasom ne we nso de ne de atoha ne we de ne de atoha at the international level, at the very top level, diplomatic level. Na ebano sa so enna yetimi hu obi pedigree di onim na Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo ne mempani na odi no ontosin wo baabi menka se mkaso ontosin anye se the OABI excellent dabi and from so when nipa ho amamu na nkasa wo bu no no bitumi abase wo bu na ni agu bibi so anase bibi ho kra entonason ye anase bia be ba me kana ho boaboa ono ankasa ne preparation wo de ye mampani term say all live up to expectation anase all stand up to every occasion high level interaction any bibi sano utimi say yeah he is up to the task eno dia waboabo ano ho asie wo kwan bi so eno no na nra na we cancer wo hwe daily graphic mfoni a wode ba mampani we shia we mampani we shia we mampani we shia we mampani shia we is Africa ye wa bib ye wo mpanimfo bu ha esan se be woni amaya horo so mpanimfo hia ne ba high level interactions they require tact and diplomacy or they say and some stature. Aya de bɛyɛ saa deɛ na ya ɔmo nim nti no na ɔmo amamu no ɔmo de ayɛ agorɔ ne Isaiah nsɛnkora ni so saa ne ade na yɛ asere saa ya na ɔmo mmerɛ twam na ɔmo kɔ at the end of their tenure no wotumi sisi pa nti high profile engagement ba paa bɛn o de aseɛ say at what summit G8 summit G20 summit baby obi can be now also so what can be near who said truly because who you Ghana leader who you also African leader and for that matter as I said u stature u nim dear u interaction o just say no be biano it may live up to expectation at that level.
Keke me dase mame kwa mano so ne Professor Jampo or a lecturer University of Ghana ye ne no nin komo kakra emfa enkomo kakra kra wo fie emfa nhyase emfa free America mampania bedi akire ya waba Ghana hase ne no emfa nhyase emfiri wo efiri wa ebe call Parliament House opani ye mo acha no pe
yeah
na ho te say
me ho ye na ho so
me ho ye nyankopon adaroma ahoden wo ho ye dase nso se wagye enso America mampania bedi akire mami ba ye wodi wani adi akire kakra
oh kakra ya titi some maybe I walk the fact that U.S Vice President Abefly I know ho Emma Oman no say America for they be an on the cop na a democracy enkwe ni mu na enema rule of law in asefo enshada enye papa bomba and you know sanko for no amoba Oman mu na say it's also a certain indication so be be in terms of democratic rule no ebia obo homoding yes idea you don't expect some baba or chrome and you know it's a certain attestation to our democratic advancement and ebia sungia a war mind in spite of your challenges can you force the papa
Prof so we are not trying modern money ade ya na mampani oteso no so the level of commitment at that level no so and we almost consider
sending in a campum Oman no democracy no queen anymore so yeah Oman for any penny for nyina asude and I say will be play and as for you know generally Ghana is seen as a peaceful country, a peaceful and democratic country. And you know, it is but the fact that Vice President previous times, you know, other presidents of U.S. Ghana, and you know, say Vice President, it keeps telling us in terms of our drive towards democratic maturity, ebia ye boy homoding sanam din kankan na sanko fo ye bibia na omoko ene bibia na omoko ntino chusu so abagana na chese yeah in terms of your democracy now we should aim at climbing higher the ladder of democratic progression so one because aba unso mo banso ana amo the pledges bi ni sika bi just mo bi bebre e dey ba na ni na ba it me eboa e masemi aman ho akire ye massive nema to me ekoyi kakra e mai ntino ade papa
ye hu ni say ya ekwan ba de be fa so a ye be build ya massa animonyam ayenyan etumi akoso be hwa anye we ne odi kan wo mampani akufo ado abre so mo abeba dodo no a ye kwayanim so be hu na ebi ba bia ye due no ene se de we are seeing aye akwanya we be then ya build upon
as I say show commitment to our democratic principles see a chairman ipenina even say we are serious when it comes to governance say yema obia who say you see kasem ne kwaya to turn on nasefo ni nyina no we are serious we no more na yeah attract not only presidents but other investors from elsewhere to our country. I say Ebema one I didn't want Kakra no see to Anamon be a year for a boy home modern as of my what a most confidence are more away mono a coso and they want to be visiting. And like I said, the more they visit, the more they show a certain way to others. Ghana is a destination. Ubitini ako.
Oh, here neighboring countries I try and who she are and Tokwan no many they war. Yeah, Ghana high open one cassa whishy monum name commodia a cosono. Who say your democracy, Yankasa, your values, baby, a drone, your directory.
Sending the pain on a democracy, and Mamma can be a more than anything in Anna, meaning that well for them because some people feel say in position it's alien to our traditional governance system. But that's aside, several studies and surveys conducted by Afrobarometer shows that generally people like democracy and people feel it is the most preferred form of governance that must stay. And to the extent that empirical studies and Afrobarometer studies said democracy is the new kid on the block, and it is something that it is the most preferred form of government. It means even though a lot may feel that it is an alien form of government, majority of the people feel say the papa fine and a form of government. I would say that yes, a good number of people, if you like, the majority of Ghanaians believe in democracy. Now, as we try to advance democracy, as we try to ensure that democracy itself is able to offer protection to itself, it would grow. We are just a transitional democracy. We are expected to grow high, climb higher the ladder of democratic progression, and to advance towards an electoral and a liberal democracy. Do liberal democracy maybe a better and democracy and faso no so abba and massive democracy the papa is just that it's sometimes we misapply the concept and under the aegis of democracy in somewhere in somewhere near the year because democracy itself sometimes is unable to protect itself. Sorry, democracy no diatem. Democracy now can send be and say okay democracy na obi ade asese na famra kwan so kura na democracy na ya no bi basa we say justice delayed is then yakaka brofo no basa bia na ye de afafa ho na yamani pa bia esenka bia they are switching and I say the corrections and we leave them off the hook. Democracy is unable to protect itself into a good system of governance, but under it, never be a porous, never be editing some, never be essay.
Professor Jampo, nkomo bebre no ana akoso mutual benefits e be income randomly ade akokoso but as an African na yenya this opportunity kwan be na yebetumi afaso na yetumi anya so mfaso sanse omoba no omokona se yantumi anhye enema yi kwan be na yebetumi afaso a yebenya so mfaso from the business side said na wa wo kan ni sa mfaso
na wo kan omoko na omoba na yankase ntumi ahye enema yi enkosi ada Nema koso mine na ejina yenso. Ni anipa bi baba ambeba beboa yen na sefo nyina no. Se be you enye you nyina ejina yenso. Wow, until yen mum na ese atoto yen nema yi embribe na ibisa at the school for there's a course I teach called Strategies for African Development. One of the strategies for African development has been the call for reparation. Reparation, say, if we bring Hana, if you number far and call for some develop for mind, African leaders, the able-bodied men and women that we needed to tell our land and to develop the police and among the form who develop the police and to pay as a certain maybe a compensation on the Maya at the development the banner. I then I'm when somewhere Yaka cannon church idea school for in our I'm the compensation we are seeing in our Maya and cry and develop. Some say, I don't see intimate to tree and near my year. And you know, a DBA and a or man, yet they can turn a cool what they can turn to cool and soon go in our baby. And you know, near baby near whatever bread, $300 million year, like so for. Then you know, I'm on the bar, young Casayan to tree and near my year. Now you see leakages and slippages, near my DBA na maybe
well, I've young quay and him said an arm of government. But before then, there was this question if LGBTQ who are foreign media one and buy and be a busa. So question no open signal ben as a day backroom her internationally.
So almost say yeah. America for almost yeah my and the abhor polygamy and you know Africans are naturally polygamous almost African for nti omo yenso se inyan na omo modie no se oba ne bema beda anaso bema ne bema oba ne oba beda na bema ne obema ebeda na ebinom ne mmoa deda ebinom so se omo ni ndia na asefo deda na no de omo se ya ye no enye ye culture no enye ye enka ye stage of democratic development hono almost say the human rights into the the leadership of the country must take a firm decision about it. It is not part of our stage of democratic development. I mentioned so there are stages of democratic development and different human rights that are emphasized. A nation that wants to progress in terms of democracy starts from a regime called authoritarianism. Under authoritarian regime, there are no human rights. The rights that are enjoyed by the human beings are only the rights that are permitted by the leader. Or no, Nyobeka say you're found in your found. When they or say where you're found, it's not that is authoritarian regime. Now you move from authoritarian regime to an electoral democracy. Ghana is an electoral democracy. It's also called a transitional democracy. In transitional democracy, the only human right that is prevalent but severely underdeveloped are political rights. So in transitional democracy like Ghana, the only right that is prevalent but severely underdeveloped, political rights, the right to vote and the right to be voted for. Whether the outcome of the elections are free, fair, peaceful, and transparent, is another matter. But at least periodically, there will be the conduct of elections. People have the right to speak their mind. People have the right to vote. They have the right to form political associations and to belong to political associations. These are the rights that are prevalent in transitional democracies. ECOSOC rights, it means economic, cultural, and social rights in transitional democracies are not developed. Intina obi nyejuma untumi mfa nshada mfa aban kokko to say aban me nyejuma ntumi siu economic rights. O kaso kusi ubi sa because that right kusi aban sa because that right is not developed obi kokko bashu en maka say akwe jama oya papa da. And then other cultural and social rights, they are severely underdeveloped. It is within the realm of cultural and social rights, and that's LGBT, Then you move from transitional democracy after practicing it for about 100, 150, 200 years, it develops into a liberal democracy. Now, in a liberal democracy, political rights are fully developed. Economic, cultural rights, and social rights are also developed. Then you move from liberal democracy to advanced liberal democracy. Advanced liberal democracy, no. You can say people there have access to all rights. Every right that they can imagine, no, they have the right. Everything that they can imagine, no, they have the right to do it or to claim it as a right, and the state must actually put in place measures to ensure that they claim those rights. They have the right to do anything, sometimes beyond human imagination. That is in advanced liberal democracy. Now, be a say. A rebbe or a crubis or say or non on the oidia. Obisio or nipa, obisio media media. And a worker say oidiano, the state must put in place measures to ensure that that is his right, her right. Onyabua, nipa oidia. And a PA is see ubika echi. And a nipa is see opposite utukano a panic. Must there be the media and maybe a messiah mission. Yeah, kaya, I'll say the right or idea. If you see, and a nipple any way, dear, means to make a fat chainsaw. Maybe chat the American said the person means we go make car, means me on the right. I'll go for a chainsaw, won't pay the pay a if you see, it is within advanced liberal democracy that people claim rights, ownership to all manner of rights, sometimes beyond human imaginations, and it is there that LGBT actually flourish. The states must actually put in place measures to ensure that people who claim such rights will enjoy it. We are just a transitional democracy. We have not even got into liberal democracy, let alone climbing higher the ladder of democratic progression to advanced liberal democracy. You know, LGBT for us, I'm person on the for media, many of and we do also here. But as the president said, it is also before Parliament. I am hoping the Parliament would say me many confidence of Parliament. But I'm hoping there be a parliamentary confidence. I'm hoping, sir. Even though,
for example, if you say Parliament is so one,
I am hoping, sir, even though there is a palpable lack of confidence in them, way for the first time, they would act in a manner that syncs with the mood and sensibilities and culture and values and beliefs of the people over the years, or recent examples show that is oftentimes acted in a manner that goes contrary to the mood and sensibilities of the people, both the majority and minority side.
For example, na mi busa say if you say a parliament, a close parliament or no. Oh,
Ghana, apart from them, you'll be able to make
a parliament, a bosso, almost 50-50. Se bibiba no mo edi hon koma, otimi hono se ano timi eyeden enti se dodo no adwen ko benkro mu a obi be ka se na e kire se ye koye nim e wo kabima men kabi mu a enkoye se bia wegina ha adenti na wo so no mo nya adwen
there be me confidence on mu and say empire bebre no omaye niam bia many for say ni fa bebre dodo na eni anjo show the recent I know so be something to my recent example is about the approval of the ministers that were presented to them. All of them, they could not even reject one. All of them. We see if we share 1992 democratic ruling, we are yet to know a minister who was rejected by Parliament. But oftentimes Parliament has been constituted in such a way that we had always majority side and minority side. So when we had clear majority and minority sides, it was understandable that the majority would always have its way. They would always approve their own. But we had a hung parliament, and then the hung parliament is unfortunately also misbehaving, and it is even working. It is a so fast one lesser than even when we had the majority and minority side in parliament. In parliamentary democracy, lobbying is allowed. Lobbying is allowed. So, if you have a very good cause, say, the cause now, Ukraino, here Oman no hudi and Oman sumbi and Oman puntua. Would you make the other side, equal lobby, just to get some members of the other side to your side to vote alongside with you on a good cause. That was the reason why, you see, ever since your 1992 constitution, the executive, you see, the constitution was not made for the current crop of leaders after Jerry Rawlings. The constitution of 1992 was not made for President Akufo-Addo. It was not made for Atta Mills. It was made for J.J. Rawlings. Because Papano, now only a fan of multi-party democracy. After ruling Ghana for about 11 years as a military dictator, now only not Jane say hand over power. And the constitution was to tell him that look, even though you can't say hand over power, you the mrapon be mawa, and mrapono a bema will be able to say what that's so a military leader. It will give all the powers to you. It will give all the powers to you, and you behave like you are still a military leader. Into the constitution gives all the powers to the executive. Unfortunately, who opposition are constitutional powers no asem. Nemum who be deep to me as a power not about power not bound and a constitution. You also want to enjoy it. And the leaders that succeeded Rawlings have only enjoyed it. And I'm saying this to say that the constitution gives the executive president a lot of powers over itself and even over the other arms of government. Oka Parliament, the president is like a political king kong who determine even the composition of members of committees, who heads which committees. They also play an influential role in deciding on who must be the leader of parliament, the speaker of parliament. It's always from the executive president. When they decide, because the parliament for to abide in for okay. And the history of the Foreign Republic show that so from 1992 up to it's like 2020, is the executive president who has directly or indirectly decided who must become the speaker. Now, for once, the NEC minority side felt that it would be a good cause for them to have a speaker of parliament not from the majority side. So they tried, hello, Amufawo.
Baby, mebusa onsem nyina so me trotro na me trotro nyina ensem no ba ko eye na wo kan 1992 bepem na yen reject obia as a nominee ewo. Yes you are right, but sir answer man panin so di obi beba no na wa hwe the background e na ye wo niam hodo a nipa no won qualifier e na ye betumi agina so a disqualify nana.
Ye wo niam hodo a say your parliament, from 92 even up to now, there are several things. Yes, but in your say the minority can have its say, and the majority will have its weight. In your mercy, so now they reject you fukra. Say a majority rule, and then parliament now has become a rubber stamp. In the background of Krampu and parliament majority would always be.
But for example, na say obi background nye na say tia constitution and na say be emre bi e wo ho a so obi betumi akọ court to say that be nipa won qualify impo parliament approve na on qualify.
Obi be akotumi akọ court na nipa ahin na wosika etimi court and na nipa ahin na enye so heavily influenced by your cultural practice and belief in Pamanyame. Asem up to nipa kita dance here ma menkyerɛ me foro informer Shangri-La bipo me foro ana me hu sɛ articulator bi ɛwɔ m'anim ɔba ne chi a ɔde bɛpem me kaa sɛ kim ɛna me gyinaeɛ ɔno nso gyinaeɛ wɔn a ɛwɔ me chi nso gyinaeɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛgyinaeɛ papa na agye ato mu sɛ ɔno na ɔde ne kaa aba ne chi abɛpem me kaa nti no ɔbɛhwɛ yɛkɔfrɛ police yɛsɛ mfa nkɔ court yɛkɔdu court wɔn a ɛwɔ me chi no mbɛmbɛdi adanse a mo si ofama nyame we enti no me patro enka obi betumi a court wo amofa otu empra na ɔde wasɛm ɛkɔdan court sika nkɔ court asɛ nyɛ free well lawyers sika bɛgye filing fee na so wo yɛ anankɔfoɔ aka kyerɛw ɛwɔ nyɛ hwee madamfo bi a ne ba wu yayaaya ɔde no kɔto kolebu a negligence nti owu yayaaya anka wayɛ na adwene sɛ nko bɛsiw kolebu authorities ɛwɔ court ɔyɛ ya nkɔfoɔ ebusuafoɔ osiw no koraa nipa no ɔmba bio.
For example, is this not different from Obia Yadinako appointment committee? Na committee no hwɛ mpanimfoɔ ɛte hɔ ɔma busabusa ne nsɛm tɔde bo a yɛbusa akɔbusa mpo o classroom JHS ne SHS ne secondary school so awokɔ ɛnom ne ade
ebisa ne nyinaa ɛma anu yie ba ɛna sometimes no mo MPs nankasa bɛka wɔ abɔnten sɛ anu yie ɔmo de ba yi ɛne ne background ɛyɛ questionable nti ne yɛde yɛbɛto akyia but yɛbɛto akyia it's always about voting. Okay, into no background and yet not a voting Koswa, na majority would always have its way. They will vote for you. Nipa hina your madin say you was able to send you with Kaniwa that tears at the court. Make sure honest, the make can say, yan ye cliche a your family. Until the brain no do no and the court. Well, until me care could say, and no one and a namuswa na ye ye hang parliament here recently, the minority group in parliament saw that it will be a good cause for us as a country to, for once, prevent the executive president from having control over who becomes the Speaker of Parliament. And so they were able to lobby the majority side, some members of the majority side, to vote along their side. That's how come we applauded them when, for once, they were able to get the Speaker of Parliament in the person of Alban Bagman, Omfi MPP camp. It was something that was good. It was a good cause. So you can lobby the other side to agree with you if you think that your cause is good. Unfortunately, but if your cause is good and you are lobbied to abandon your cause, that's a problem. What am I saying? Recently, and yet say, resna and say, Diana, Yahu actually is so mine. Now, Yahu actually is so mine. One of the in Myanmar, you say a bind between me and is for a bind to downsize until now by so. It's from 1990, from independence, but we are Google this study. Ministerial appointment and government expenditure in Ghana's fourth republic.
Memo atwaso na yedin komo ya na onua professor bako ka se Dr. Ecos Piugabra ne time parliament rejected no and president Kufuor time so one deputy minister Kukum and na ofri ono so parliament rejected no.
I know I'm not sure. I know of Vicky Bright. Vicky Bright Kufuor time. Omoka say, they questioned her citizenship. And say, no, yes, but I don't know about Uganda. Say parliament rejecting. Why don't
okay, and one or second for no a deputy minister, or also President Kufuor time parliament rejecting.
No, I'm not sure. We can check. I mean, we can all check, but I'm not sure. But let's assume, and I say, for the sake of if you look at the numbers that have been approved since 1992 up to now, one or two ministers pale in comparison with those who have been approved. And
Queen. current parliament. If you said you're okay, a do time or you speak, and yes, one more minority, were able to lobby the majority for no be to me speak about side. This time around, almost what to me a lobby, I may be almost what to about at the moment. I didn't think I was only GDO or woman.
If your cause is good, you lobby. Okay, if your cause was a cause now will pursue you go ahead and lobby others to vote alongside with you. But if you have a good cause, if you have a good cause, you must stand by your good cause and prevent situations where you are lobbied to abandon your own good cause. Now, what do I mean by a good cause? That's any I'm in Ghana, if you give me some 2 minutes beer, I can be able to make that point. What I'm trying to say is that you see, and one of the challenges, one of the demands of many people has been for the government to downsize. And I was referring you to this steady ministerial appointment and government expenditure in Ghana's Fourth Republic. It tells you that from independence up to now, this current government has the biggest government size. Well, now, people have called for the government size to be downsized. Now, to the beer, we see a binomo almost now the end downsize, now downsize the cry. A shika in our besi. And I make us a montia memoise. So, what ya memoasia to the beer, a memoise, a memoir to the beer, a optics and perception. Young you tag for, say, your call a quenya buying cuisine kunya up to now, see, cares are buying between a man. On to be me ye call ye near buying cuisine kunya. Oh, ye near Motinasia, yet omutu me patchows, no more patchowa. Say, omutu me trench and say, Mutina yenum in yenum for the ayatias. Na ye tias ye, na ye bar. As someone say, we do not represent ourselves, we represent people. Into your bunny, be share your constituency near from. So, oh, your choir, abide your patchowa. The refrain that comes to us and say, abide and what's no. Now, they don't mean to the government. So, abide and teswa and yen sacrifice it. That's what our people tell us. So, the call for government to downsize, and your partisan call. Number one, young people, yet is a MPP 4B, and walk Kumasi Asante Radio 4, and demonstrated the day they say, Abai should downsize. Civil society, all civil society, I'm here to know the civil society group in Ghana that has not made this call, said government should downsize. Christian Council, Ghana Pentecostal Council, they've called for government to downsize. All identifiable groups have called for government to downsize. Members of academia have called for government to downsize. And JPR and MPP for over 80 and 90 are later majority caucus now because we are saying that President should reshuffle Ubuyata and to make some downsizing. And the majority view. And yet is NDC for so eka. And in my view, if you have these calls coming from all identifiable groups and civil society and religious bodies and pressure groups making these demands to the point that the demand has now resonated with ordinary people. If I don't do research, I don't feed. Now, it do be when ordinary people, I'm going to say, I buy this into your own way. I buy this on ordinary people were saying this. They could do as a diplomatic community, development partners, ambassadors.
For example, let me develop the
okay,
okay,
to the extent that it became a national call and cry, NPP majority in him, NDC minority so in him. Now me feel say, you things to say NDC for minority group on one case so about out. Abeka say, look, this is it. We will force the government to downsize by voting in a particular way. Majority funds so akase almost cry no more say President Akufo-Addo, the finance minister. If you are now more sharp no more they saying no more reduce the size of government kakano. I mean, say the voting pattern would go to confirm publicly. It's becoming one too many. Minority group will come and say that then America vote no makopene. And this time, the reason why America say I've lost confidence in them because both sides had previously said the size of government should be reduced. And so I was expecting said they would have voted in a manner that will ensure that the size of government will reduce. At least one people, one crown will reject here, and it will send a certain message to the people of Ghana. So we are calling on the government to downsize. If the government downsizes, government is able to shift up public support and empathy. Look, the BIGNCCI, without public support, Ghana will not succeed. Without public empathy, they would not be able to navigate us through the challenges in which we find ourselves. How do you build public support? It is for the government to be able to sometimes yield or accede to the demands of the public. Now we are thinking now minority and majority side, they are also able to be lobbied against their principal position. They are able to lobby to swim against the tide. They are able to be lobbied to swim against the popular cause of the people and to vote in a certain manner that confirms the large size government. And then that also goes against the wishes and demands of the people. Then it means there will be a disconnect between what the government is doing and what the people are saying. And then you will not be able to flip up the public support. And when he confirmed these ministers, I've spoken to several civil society leaders. I've spoken to several labor unions. And I'm going to say, well, the government is refusing to sacrifice. And the government is calling upon us to sacrifice. We won't sacrifice. You won't get their buy-in. You won't get their support. Sometimes it is not just for the fun of it that certain demands are made. Many penny for be akasa. Amakaso Namo, Wakasa Montisi, Montesokra, Sikani, and the sea. Namakatram said, Muntia Bimwase. A memo is to also elicit public support and empathy to help you do what you want to do. And sometimes, if the public are saying, Munya say, that's a moya, or Motima Cynthia China. So, what can someone say, Mumayanumus, Chelpe, you watch it. And more support to Abai. Now, Abai me watch it in and I'm a minister of Kamasa downsizing. Into one sumu demand to know, Monfan to be Bikakra, Nipatawase, Memo Nipanaka. Now, was you, Mitsukura, means you are meant so.
For example,
you are unable to garner the public support.
Mami Musa on Sem Kakra. Oye lecture nti we are ye nyina de nti aya no ma edin ya na metie said ensem no esi ekro cost cutting omanfo eka no de edi kan aban CEOs wo mo ye adwuma ma aban and ministers wonom salaries wate so 30%, including coupons I de mo de fuel ne ade nyina no fuel no kra de aba 50%, half ekọ what share regional ministers, deputies nina in ho. What share that arrangement abaya ye would they cut cost. Afe na your ministerial portfolio a hold best and so be ya nina so buying a ye a free ho. So be cancer buying and cut costa. Na say or they to hona watch it. Will you say to be fair to a buying share any bibia?
Also, cost cutting woman. Many confo be akasa okaya cost cutting nipa bebre engine bi say 30%, 50% reduction as for now nipa bebre engine bi say eyamba nipa bebre engine bi entino say transparency yenye sika ene editi omuka entino say ne papa mu dia and if there is true cost cutting Ada na obi nhyɛ da mfa ni pay slip number 2 na ɔma yɛnyɛ before and after na yɛhu ne akɔso. That is number 1. Yɛmfa no ntonkyɛ. Number 2, what ikrom a ɛne yɛpɛ sɛ aban yɛ kase you say you sue a friend saying V8 na sefo yɛmfa ne nam krom this will call abonte or call out of Accra and obey you sue V8. Woni mu sɛ asɛm a sa aban kai. Sɛ no ɛnyɛ adwuma. Many ministers, no, many ministers, the appointees, the up till now, V8, Accra, here, and them. And you know, says, I'm not buying a cat, and I'm also someone buying you, man. A better then I'll catch them, so somebody at 30%, yet you, man. And no young fan to change. Number two has got to do with the size of government. It was over 100, and I would say the other 86 or 87. Now, the point is that the framers of our constitution knew that with 19 cabinet ministers, we can rule. Okay? Because Japan, because Britain, because America, because all developed countries, not share the size of their government. And you know, I buy a big grandpa, it got into a time, oh yes, I know, at the time I hear I buy anything I buy so no. Now, on my and said that, I buy a arrangement or the reduce kakano. Now, the call for downsizing, not and said that am I. But the call for downsizing, by Umbra, I buy minister say, over 80. And you know, I buy say, oh, Maka, and well, and yes, she crown, oh, dear, me be 40 feet, and I may be 30 feet, so my minister say for so many years. Look, so can kind of ministerial appointment and government expenditures now in Ghana or Republic now. You would get the import of what I'm saying. You see ministers or ministries that can be scrapped, and then ministries that can be aligned or joined together. Okay, Ube say you're joining the alignment and realignment now will be able to have a very lean size government. And we will make use of it, that size of government, you know. It's fancy and watching it. Actually, you want high and increase the size of government. We can do it. But I say, dear, in Yamamu Ayadine. Now, one of the things you bet me, Emma, Abayan Katan, whom ever higher in navigating us through these difficult times is to build popular support for whatever it is doing. And one of the things that government can do to build support for whatever it is doing. Look, among for people in Watcherum, and so who say on Watcherum, abiding on Watcherum because the people are rallying behind the government. Okay, one of the things you can do to rally people behind you in a manner that would ensure that you don't feel the heat too much, you know, is to heed to the popular demands of the people. If you heed to the demands of the people and come forward demand to be and come by and come so buying in a watch and I answer your cat and with you if you answer slow down kaka. But the question here, can be Anna, you be defending, you can be Anna, and young penny and Nasa for the 18th meeting. It will be difficult for you to garner the popular support that you need to rally behind you to help you to navigate all of us out of these challenges in which we find ourselves.
Prof, Mami Tiwe Nswase, Osha the course for Parliament now. NDC as a party no issue statement. In fact, more directive on microphone no say one more mampeni edu more abano. Binomo who no say that directives no amwa. Unyini say NDC no one kasa internal wranglings aye koso na ma the CAC.
There are you see, I've always said that members of parliament are representatives of their constituents. First, they are not there because of their party. They are there because of we, the ordinary people. And you know, NDC for directive, you know, the MSO said it was only one out of the several directives that have been given. There are several directives that have been given, indirect directives that have been given to the members of parliament, from civil society, from academia, from the owners of the land. Nyami teacher, my mentor, Professor Michael Kwe, or say Ghana will Iranum. That's a prof, because Iranum, Ghana, New Ranum, or to New Ranum near him. New Ranum, Ghana Association, New Ranum, UTAT, New Ranum, CSUs, New Ranum, or he called them identifiable groups. They own Ghana. And the directives had already been given to the members of parliament by these owners of the land. The NDC directive, you know, was just one. Okay, but for me, you know, more directive, you know, I'm far more members of parliament, you know, and the identifiable groups and owners of the land had already given the directives. And you know, not just say they were only adding up to the views and the calls of many Ghanaians. So they had no business being lobbied against the position of the good people of Ghana. Many sa President Akufo-Addo in our bank. Many sa Abayimbia. We speak Ghana, okay, and some of these things we say them just to help the government itself. So what you are buying, so you are able to win public sympathy and public support. You are able to tone down people's demands. I mean, this year, labor unions, beside agitations, they are government because maybe I said, my no to me. And one of the things that we see our members once we are buying shoe this car. I say, because we are buying Casama for now. I don't know Casa buying shoe this car. I buying shoe this car and can you king conye? Garden on tin, I buy it. Garden on yes, I don't know yes. It becomes difficult for we to convince our members because some of the things you expect, simple things you expect the government to do, now they take it to me and say, say, and your one or my dream will be no one or proper suggestion. They don't want to take it. But you cannot govern well as a nation if you become intransigent. If we are thinking, men are making conform a country, men find you, you don't leave the right kind of legacy. And then you don't also, you are not able to also keep up public support, behind you. You say,
Prof, Madawasi, but by AI, Dean, there be no more call upon Parliament, say, or Montumin come home as arm of government, non common so, or Moniama Niama, or Monsa Canom Sika, near the no, teach minority for no, almost one common Tesoka, and is our phone in Yadrin.
We are sacrifice across board. Sacrifice across board. You sacrifice it. Okasa Parliament for sacrifice. You know, one cast of me, many of one cast and many almost yarding. But my main majority group will me disappointment with them. Sonny, I'm doing Eliana. And say, and now, or Mobaka say, yes, Canoforia Tanku, and yes, I am penny. And now, I say, Canoforia up to now on Koi. I say president appointed some of their leaders to Krampona, or more, no more, Casacan, must go. Government should downsize. President Ami Pinum appointment. You see, it is a smart move, a very co-optation. Ucha or Utia, Naka Homa. Until Mutina, Modi demanded Kuyata must go, no. We will just bring that person as part of the appointees. Now, Nyakani na Akahoma. But I was expecting the members of parliament to have also to have shown disagreement with the president. The president, leader, one of our leaders are now more fighting, saying downsizing and our appointing. That's not to stand them now. We'll take a certain position and also tell you because you are Anna one can say yampene who and the appear could be no more say yampene and yes, all of a sudden. These people who are taken to that position, now they are all quiet. They no longer want to be associated with that position. They are now afraid. You call to ask them, say, oh, and I'm say,
Prof, Nasa, because Oral Foriata, Nejuma, Mampeni, the man say, oh, yeah, no, on ye, that agreement, them say, in C and Tina be on my dino.
Opening, what did it say, sir? Make us a man of the metal, see a song train knocking kind budget we are.
Now, on IMF negotiations.
Well, and yes, as well, one kasa moya members of parliament. Mobeka say, if we must go, that's it for nothing. My U10. So the Pisa, Munkama Ghana frontier, oh, William, ye Ghana for, ye near Sipapanonko. Namum, and yes, sir, ye refi, a Jumana, old, and our president, you only ye. It's Mumia, I will say, Muse. The Jina need and I say and from Munasa only or Mokasa and Pesamacabu. You don't even want to be associated with that.
My final question now, common umbra, Navy and I am out wabre. Yeka cost cutting, former President Mahama, so they are to just say, or GD said their political parties near my city and on Kafanda na buying far and Ton Hoso. Meanwhile, we bear 28 political parties in Ghana. San Comodino or Oneno Ebayajani.
Uncle Modino near Shasia. Shasia's Uncle Modino in 1996. The first person to have mooted that idea was Ubeda Samwa. Later on in 2006, there was a draft bill that was signed by MPP, NDC, CPP, PNC. President Kufuor was the president. Also, the idea of public funding of political parties has come to stay. Let us have a bill that will determine how it can be implemented. As I speak to you now, we have a copy of the bill. When I was the coordinator for the IE Ghana Political Parties Program, a bill has already been prepared. He's not asking for anything new. Ghana has over 20 political parties. Mali are more 106 political parties. Now, because the public fund of political parties, I know interest say, Ubia Soria, Okoti political party, I bring his car if your mind. Who shall bill no more? I'm fire small researchers no, or staff for Nibina or Mumra office, no more copy of the bill. Who shall bill now? The requirements that it imposes on political parties is such that the NDC and MPP form so they will not be able to meet those requirements. Into the call for public fund of political parties is not a license for the proliferation of amorphous election machines. It will never be that. The call for public fund, bill now, it sets even a ceiling on the spending during electioneering campaign, beyond which if you go now, you are disqualified. And we will call University of Cape Town, South Africa, share on school for elections. Akwedi ana watie simu ana odi reading elections. Electoral commissioner the council on and so one disqualified. Let me say I say was spending more than what he is supposed to spend in the electioneering campaign. He disqualified. The draft public funding of political parties is set a ceiling of spending. So we'll go beyond that now. You are disqualified, and we'll go beyond that now. You don't get funding from the kitty. Or into idea a bit to me abua. If President Mahama said so, well, it's not anything new. Waka the papa as ye dream one. They can't bra ye yes bill in 2006 Kufuor Abreso. Let me tell MPP in Penumfua one bet now say essence sign. Osha bill now the leadership of the MPP that signed, the leadership of the NDC, PNC, and CPP, and other political parties that signed it. It's something that we've agreed on. Ya can want some every did that. Ya won't bill did that.
Prof, Yanuasi, Emma Quina, Coach the Wadi and I pay your foul brepa.
Amofa, Namika.
Yankopon so encounter Professor Ransford Jampo, a lecturer at University of Ghana, Yaneno, a dean common lenti one. Kanya Obeka.
Yeah, yes. Na Prof Akasa, yeah. Na yem fa and yem bin so unto there. I said no America. In democracy, no. Yeah. I think say it's also not right. Say, what do I drink eba? She say a ko baby. E bet me afa benkum, e bet me afa nifa. Me met me a catch say. O si am fa benkum ba me fa nifa na. Be ebre sesi eduru no. E bet me aduru ho. Anasa me kra me duru ho agya. Ba ya so nko aka se da bi chinchina. Ti say me friana me kokroma ya. Me pa me fa Zongo Junction. Traffic light yase. Afa Atomic Legon. Afa Oponglo akozi Shiachi. Depending on say the traffic not here no. Ba me fa 37. Me pa me fa Gimpa Road.
Yeah.
Mercy
Forest
Fiesta. Royal. What do I say? Edia me jolly Roman rich or na baby. Depending on say the third crime meet me akwa kokofa. Now say so because a mampeni aye adamant and our bunu egunasum say e be a number of ministers on beso better so na nipa no nyefe de edikai o kan say e toda politics no de wo be ye e wo nipa nim amomo age atum amomo akoma tom yem which is aesthetics no and also so a factor. I agree with him.
Yeah.
And okre.
Yeah.
A toda e be yes for shege reasons. O they say oh yeah they be now they are making statement. But a toda also so na to say there especially mampeni coming from Babia or they 125 na start here. Na or they about 80 something.
Yeah.
What I say? Yeah, between first term and second term, no. Wakati about 1/3 of the ministers.
Yeah.
Regional ministers in every hall. What I say? Regions are increasing from 10 to 16. Factually, no. No crasa mampeni between the first term and the second term. No. What is? But there be a bit my argument. Still, no what is no? pedaso dawson fair argument now what can say yakwa ahonkyeremu ewiase nyina akwa ahonkyeremu Ghana nso akwa ahonkyeremu yesi kasem ɛho akwa atwe enti no still some ampani oye bi ne ye yi a obetumi aye na yaw adentina yaw mebusa o adentina eniema a bible ho kanyina in terms of akatua ekonipa botom in terms of akatua ekonipa botom what you say ya dwen ya fixation nyina ne say ministers nkwane downsize ya ebe save cost adentina ya kasa ni omani nyina ya ho kire ye abai wo nipa 500,000 on their payroll 500,000 no ya chichemu a ebi a teacher for ye be 500,000 university lecturers yeah University of Ghana I want Professor Jampo Kaneno Omanfm na lecturers no so say you no more no so say I can tell you Oman no more university is in the 60s in the 70s professors ebe to Oman no more can try said there tie ni ade no yeah me 92 linguistics department me metumi akai professors are no more ewo from Dolphin if you no more call retirement Professor Dolphin Professor Bodi the bar Professor Yanka no so no more akai hands full but then no ukwa departments no bebre adoso how many secondary schools are near Ghana number of teachers are no more and adoso baby in terms of nipa what abai payroll so they adoso even yama article 71 office holders MPs yeah say you're starting 92 near 200
yeah
2004 near 200 between 2004 and 2006 and I said a day quite near the code 230 meboa and a day 275 almost so untimin can say nya ni tree omoka and in fact the fact say a lot of MPs almost are ministers are opting and also more prefer on beji or more MPs pay no there is no that much difference between MP and ministers salaries yambacha what them mention other because I will can't be or more politically or more independent way so they are and then ye restricted no to the minute na ya fixation ya dia ya kan mo manfa dwen abaso se chinchina this I agree with prof say a thought that for the statistics or whatever e be no I just to make a statement but thought that so as we should also think outside the box because this are do be no because even as to what constitute lean government no obitimi aka say oh oman minaminim indicators aya no omde obi so oman bi ti say bia United States omo 350 million but omo number of ministers say but omo we fi so omo na federal state
yeah
federal year uko state bia awo ne governor ni mayor
okay kan omo de bo mo bebre
ko Nigeria one state governor na point is eno ne etim media me wo way with some Nigeria governors ebi omo within omo political office no ebi ana the media team Krana, I've been in touch with some. They be SNG emails or more articles. Now you open Nkrofo or more tropa Nigerians. Office of a governor.
My focus says we must stop comparing the federal system with our unitary system. The federal has more than what they always quote. Each state has a number of ministers in federal system. Just
even what constitute lean government no obi a the person or the toto ho obi person or the ebia country no the population o just say ɛna ɛtoto ho enti saa no ne wohwɛ America and Nigeria a mo yɛ both more than 300 million na ɛne ne kyerɛ sɛ Ghana kra de uyi 20 kra ɛdɔso you know pam no twa no so you know what me study yes akɔ ahokyerem but adeɛ baako nso a yɛbɛtumi ayɛ ni enkrɔfo a ɔmo yɛ meme political appointees ɔmo wɔ me payroll so deɛ CEOs na last week yeah make us CEO be office he told me na katu ya chem ya tesu 30% ɔne ne deputy nyina ya tesu 30%
ɛno na ɔno pɛ so ɔkyerɛ sɛ
minister of
ya na gidi
ɛno no nso o ka saa wo na wonyini no o da sa wo nso so fa bibi bra be proof sɛ oh yɛte hɔ anana akufo ado be ka kyerɛ sɛ CEOs na what you market to so by saying no CEOs are be a contrary to what you market to so by oh scientists are no more that soje na ne nia hu so obi di atro na ya so me de mania hu no me de mania hu say minister of state wa parking a Land Cruiser na o use Toyota Camry edi ko akwaniaba na okọ akọ inspect kwaya enye kra ono ne chief directors ne directors nyina no obia na don't forget say ya obeko ministry bi and the brother jump on mo ya mo cast mo against white obetimi akọ ministry bi chief director no 4-wheel drive be 3 or 4 and I say anya bi o be 2 director so and so director so and so director so and so PPME bebre ɛno no kambo mu a wobɛtumi akɔ ministry no mo yɛ project ebi abɛkɔ ministry of lands and forestry say a lab project land administration project yeah the number of 4-wheel drives are beto under that particular project no ɛdɔso kyɛ ministries and ɛdɔ untimi mfa minister and the deputy de ɛma mɛtoto ho kra
obi se kwa retire was o tie no attentively no ho say okay so in classroom
oh there be that yes sir obekire na say by extension obefidie ya so educate enipa bebre
say o de to de ko Nigeria no ne ade no emanti ase no ba say wo de ye de no to kase country wo mo dɔso no mo ministers yesei so
and no crowns on because at the basadia any countries a be so almost yankinkiti. It didn't and
Mampeningwan.
Any some Mampeningwan. But I know soon say if in reality, no, as I said to Soyan, Mampeni, the first ultimate free bear 125 at the bar 80 something. What do I say? A Bianca and Mrama Hokan or Sakote Temwa. Go back to me at Sudia Baby 60. Yeah, what I say? Yeah. Now, my Hamas who was more than 60. Yeah. You could do some. Yeah, you could do some adia. Now, you this kind of solve ni de be could do some lectures, allowance, research books near, research allowances near then. Yeah, 2014, 20 nanko. And also nanko. Students, no mutual utility. No mutual utility bills. A doctor Matthew Opoku Prempe. And a Bechamu. And then, of course, university now is somehow autonomous. I'll just a back subvention, that's
But apart from CSOC, institutional representations, this Ghana Bass, which also Bob was or Munina, man, what to buying a downsize. What is all
and no, dear, on record, no, and they're on record, no. Omun cancer. There be because downsizing. Omunina no ebia kasa bia abam fakwem. Ba ya say me who say ministers apake omo cars 4-wheel drive. I mean obu a ma me ye minister no. Na o drive ne 4-wheel drive dada. Yeah. What you say? Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe. Ne 4-wheel drive or two. Hey, on one day, I buy there. No mayor minister not take ne Trazako fee that $1.5 million. Trazako san in your top. And you are Baba minister now fee say, baby or tea and Annika use no. or muntia, you may be wrong.
Yeah.
And you know, my point is a cost cutting. No?
Yes.
The Mampania started here in terms of ministers. Any state-owned enterprise, CEOs, MDs, ne director general, aketri ayatete so no. And also ye part of cost cutting nubia. Na almost can we extend it to all Article 71 holders? Can we extend it to former president John Mahama say yakwa hunchirem? So last year you to brand new cars now. But you de car no kono. Ka betimi aka kire say oh me die mienu brand new mienu Lordina die mienu Musa ma ye bi nche Musa ma ye bi nche mienu de mama ye ba ko na de aka enti ye mienu no mama ye 1 4-wheel drive na mama ye 1 saloon ye mama saloon no Benz ya muru chian tie rubber anu de on to sacrifice now I can say most mama nya djuma and the constitution ya me ochina making ka bibia ma on say John ofri so as mampani na ye tua ne kasa onya adwuma no unim say kokodi energy company bi anim e de omo akọ another country akọ broker deal am
yeah ono mo tran mo twa picture ba social media ne ade bebe
no one of the energy companies one of the energy companies ono cover ba ha ma dum so mu ono mo be sign agreement as I say or mo provide code omo ko another country as agent.
Oh yes go.
Yeah can't trust a menya djuma. And so obu so meboa no ko cut deal meboa Indiana and also so
gege na ehomra na e kopa anti e na ehon aba e ba na afi ye de wokrata na kakra bi akam no na ye de atoa so kai na hye nso se aha ye 107.1 ye dan ye ho for commercial break ye ba de aka no ye de betoa so.
Wake up to a fresh morning. National Agenda, your #1 morning show.
Ade panono kofa bae wasan de 3CP papa ebeboa efie bia aba mese ade pa de etwamu da wo de 3CP egu so mu dware a ebo ho ban efi muamoa ho fa 3CP efren so huru wanu anopa bia na mo wo se ho ban wonu aduane na eja ana enso hye ehyewo a fa 3CP efren so fifa so eno ano no wo hyewu wi a fa 3CP efra enso fifa so na beboa obebre 3CP ehye pimples empompo ekro na ekum kro ene mrimu ya wonso 3CP so de enye na wo drugstores bia mu atufonko adepa pharmacy ene SGSSB ene hwani mu okanshi fre 0302 664 832 kumase adepa pharmacy e wadum ene Hello FM ene hwani mu 3CP efie bia hia 3CP bambo.
Say you can Dominion herbal powder emma immune system and then kwabo wo nipadua mu ne yeden na ne senti wo tadi yare sunkunimu a ehu adanse bi ni o
adon dey fine pa manum bi tina me di ho adanse no enya yesi me say
Dominion herbal powder de minia enya amanfo adanse enti na be kanfo ne aye wo me nipadua mu no eburo madwen ene menti ase so emma Dominion herbal powder empa wo hu da biara da
asam no na da ho no Dominion herbal powder enwanso anya wonsu ohie wo tea cup mu na da treketo ase biagumu wo twa nseti yanum wawie Angels Dominion Herbal Center won kokko ene de aba apemfo aba ton mo manufo ene nkwada woni mfie dum yene de won ka ho dodo afre 054 315 8195
FDA agi edwadie nkratoɔ yi atum
Sebamed range of products hunam boafo ade panono kofa bae wasan de 3CP papa ebeboa efie bia aba mese ade pa de etwamu da wo de 3CP egu so mu dware a ebo ho ban efi muamoa ho fa 3CP efren so huru wanu anopa bia na mo wo se ho ban wonu aduane na eja ana enso hye ehyewo a fa 3CP efren so fifa so eno ano no wo hyewu wi a fa 3CP efra enso fifa so na beboa obebre 3CP ehye pimples empompo ekro na ekum kro ene mrimu ya wonso 3CP so de enye na wo drugstores bia mu atufonko adepa pharmacy ene SGSSB ene hwani mu okanshi fre 0302 664 832 kumase adepa pharmacy e wadum ene Hello FM ene hwani mu 3CP efie bia hia 3CP bambo
Mr. and Mrs. The Mama praise the Lord.
Hey, Pastor. Hallelujah.
The treasure de who sit to me here. Then we'll be on your back according to your child.
Hey, Pastor, if we say me kunu fa mermaid do CB men's capsules. Na me so me no ma dear CB women's capsules. What you know? Any job be free pa.
Praise God, praise God.
CB men's capsules. I best some in Pemure, and me do some yale, and no banners now we can't never form no. And in Ayasia, Ayana the Fitchy Crobrimuno. CB women's capsules are beginning in every so.
Maya come see me that day munti. Me rapon ya no be free.
I'm coming going.
CB men and women capsules. Susie Herbal Center, Ghana, Madam was say, a painful, a bad time one more money for them of flower in field me and home. Our pharmacist chemical herbal shops in name. At 4 Susie Herbal Center 0247 11 16 71. After 0246 57 87 50.
CB men and women capsules.
Ubadu so feel.
Hey, you also.
Cocoa dairy free coconut milk. Cocoa dairy free coconut milk. Yakube America or bois de diaba kube and a yediaye. So would the good tea and now cocoa moa and bois poapo. Enti Emma no pedriani ye crab shankasa. Calcium ni vitamin D2 are a woman. Emma will sing ni undo pimu yedin. Vitamin D12 nso bois ma umoja no di efusani. Cocoa die ediaba na yediaye. Na Vegetarian Society a wo UK ajia tumpifi. Cocoa dairy free coconut milk. Jibaku sesia. Etu for telephone 027 444 0180. FDA ahwehwesa ejwadie nkrato yimu ajatum say. Cocoa dairy free coconut milk.
Jack, you know my boss owns a fleet of commercial cars and he drives only brand new vehicles. Latest. Before he hired me, this is what he said. Krachi, my vehicles are my investment. It is a winning, now winning, and you buy any fuel apart from oil. Waboka, sign this undertaking.
But he was right?
Yes, and he's right. Goil stocks only higher grade fuels, further enriched with XP3, multifunctional enhancer, more efficient, eco-friendly, and at no extra cost. Available at every Goil station. Ajibedia. Goil Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP. Higher grade fuels, excellent for modern engines and all vehicles. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yo, wake up to a fresh morning. National Agenda, your number one morning show. Yo, wake up to a fresh morning. National Agenda, your number one morning show.
Yanamwase, Abranya Kuyankuyanim.
Yo, Chronicle Dobokrata ne Krami. Na Chronicle say, Wadosuko NDC amanyoko ni mu ama babe todwa senche reshafu bibesu NDC no mu ebio ewo mrahye Chronicle Dobokrata no the story no abahana ne wo kanyina ne say NDC for reshafu ewo Parliament anase mrahye bedwam eyi mpanimfo ade animu de foforo baaye no Honorable Muntaka Mubarak wono ene minority chief whip ena wo mo gifri ni nsem de ma Kwame Govins Agboja ya woye Adakuru MP na wo se Honorable Muntaka se oye minority chief whip ntino na Pan African Parliament no so ka ho na yeyi no every wo se minority chief whip still Pan African Parliament ne do da so ho na Chronicle se ne sources ekire ne se enche ho nso wo be yi no every one omo de Honorable Kwame Agboja akwakohye na nan ewo ho na ni nyina no se na anu aba a wo mkoto ye wo mrahye bedwamu a minority fo ni bi eto aba no de ma asoafo amampani bo wo mudin no o se besi sabra ye kasai NDC amanyoko no o mo bonyo so wo mo ani nye kra se wo mo atena wo mo amanyoko no headquarters na wo ma direct minority fo se mo nyese mayen na minority fo ni bi anye no wo mo adwene ho mo ntiase enti Chronicle die o se enche reshafu bi ebesan akoso na nipa ne tikeka pa no Honorable Muntaka se oda so wo Pan African Parliament no o mu beyi na free ho no made Kwame Agboja akwakohye na nan
me da se keke yenko wie
Clementa Park nso du abo no
na o kan ho ase
ya be na no ya Haruna Fuseni Inusa Fuseni
okay
onu du abo no ba oh park nso so de du abo aba
Senator Rollins is say.
Ne papa wa ha.
Ai, ko be mo masro antoa.
Oh, and so no answer betimi e dia ni.
Ko be mo ai. Santoa de da so.
So papa de wa ba be ye bi. Okọ. Na wo na aka wo na wo ye mpi. E na wo. O de ase. Enti nso so wunim. So obekọ akọfra ntoa na mu na abaw. Se nso so ubeli di o MP so omo nkwai. Na omo ngongongo so antoa. Na so obi anso oboso mu ni kuro. Nti papa nso antoa nso no di huru ankrofo nya. Ya wo rivers bebre wo Ghana ha. Yadi bizu bubodua. Na papa dia nso oye ya antoa no de ko. Ya graphic anim U.S Vice President waba nsrahwe ewo aha min paper bi me nya yi me enu bi ni abado bi twa na yi breme omo se ode eye camera
omo ye ho wai
omo Harris na o se Ghana ojitum se yakosika ho kyerem enti amanya sese ni omudi nsawo so eye bilateral creditors apart from fancy bia institution to say bia we ma ye bilateral creditors so ye ni omudi nsawo so a omo so yakwa de omoka wo se odim so omo so ombetie yasem so ho na omo de akyeye anase ye ka no omo timi atisubi ama na abafom ama yen se de be ya anama ye tu se de be ya yokomu ebe henha ye no nso so asade no nyina ebetumi akoso story a mefa de free graphic na aboaze thermal plant via plant na ho no explosion bi si mu na no ya wada na esompa ma amono ho ano be 50 megawatts of power ye losu but via ayen shisha yen 10 omo se de si ye no omo ACC ama se nyade a edi dum so kase bia ebetumi aba dia no ho asem ewo ho na daily guide animu no and so America my 100 million a omo pledge no so ho na no de aman enan a o koso nsrahwe ana o kire se ye de $100 million na America for ahwe ho bono ye de be fight extremism to trust some for omo ha bi ombe fe epoa no nso so de basabasa ayaba no yetimi aye na e de to omo so sa na daily guide ya omo cartoon no was a hunting for the MPs our honorables who vote yes talk through or ya who say enkrofo omo nam suomu ba kon waye na rasta ba kon so krada ba kon so ekura snap ena kuku si ni tiri ya ba bi omo nam na hwa ye tum the zamanfo ye move e wo sumase ye nim omo a ye de omo kọ antoa ye nim omo a ye de ye do me awra ya edion ashama nso so omo kum soja ni enra ye de omo kọ court yes ya ma ho kwame ama omo bill sa nso na nkrofo a na omo ekoye ku ye chi omo ye di video ko record omo a ba ye na nkrofo mpati joma ama ebe ye ho na o se de ebe ntoa challenge na ade so two challenges ani ma no opani pa na odi omo nim doctor penino a omfa na no mastermind bibia no Dr. Frederick Mapa.
Yes, we are free.
Yes, we are. No, I'm going to do court cause I'm fan a death certificate. Now, your daily guide, page 9. A woman say, "I can't hunch them." Woman say, "And near my emording." And so Ghana, you share and near my export to Kwaman on Inina. Ne value. And near my import to Ghana in ne value. I say, you share a fee more. First quarter, no, ya registered surplus of $752 million for the first 2 months of 2023. Ya registered trade surplus of $752.8 million. Naturally say niema dodo a yɛde kwama no ne yɛde free Ghana ha yɛ export the value of our export exceeded the value of our import by $750 million. Yeah. And no check the structure of the economy. Yeah, mo bi enyi na adwin firi ho no ochina na de obi nim dadaada no eno na ogina mu na ye import dependent ne mebu abeka was wa check facts no say the edit first 2 months of this year the value of our import versus the value of our export, and the value of our export exceeded the value of our import by $750 million. And the Abia costs by the end of the year, no, it bet me a register trade surplus, be about $3 billion.
1D1F or more year tiles in the sea. On so mono, or my shall say after program, no, a bit more shall say, or more day.
Almost export to that confirms. Yeah. Ministry of Trade and Industry, almost the stimulus package be. So almost a stimulus package be at the industries be. And almost home document me I watch it. That confirms appear minka soap factory. That confirms that ne bano MD no can say poultry honiama or we export to countries. They were exporting to 14 other countries from Kumasi. Yeah. Yeah. Sir, a tile company working. It's Twyford also. They're exporting to 17 other African countries by road. By road. Yeah, what articulators are Siwana Yagisa. And so Nanado Penzoani, yeah. Obibabu Niagunasum. Obibabu Niagunasum. Advantage a woman obey me. Yeah. Trade surplus of $750 million. Value chain, no, and Crawford home. Crawford position or I take advantage. I adjuma womb. So back to Hania to a guasum. So there is no hope.
But as I say, Crass, who see about Tia who say economy nasa. So I hear or more now or more ton near man cra traffic money. I don't say I shall see a pick up. I don't know what you say and near messes or call grocery shops and so. Who say Crawford see or more a ton near man crack. Auntie Nyame Adom Nasa IMF on the same year, not just any year. Ye kwa no eno na ka nkrofo nko nanka aye mafisika na ma o ya fon abna